So there was like I guess we'll call it a protest outside the stadium. I don't think many people showed up because, like, why do we have to protest things? Why do we have to have 0-16 parades? Like, can we just be normal? But they were chanting "Save us, Shedeur," and Shedeur said, commented on it or reposted it or something about "Be legendary." It seems like there was a lot of talk in the early offseason that he didn't want to play in Cleveland. It seems like he'd be okay with being drafted by the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
I would think so, especially with, watching the Senior Bowl. A lot of the quarterbacks did perform very well, but a lot of times you're still hearing a lot of this pundits saying this isn't a great draft class. Just the quarterback position itself will make some of these guys skyrocket up the charts. But I mean, I'm just not getting the warm and fuzzies. Like there's no, I think Adam Schefter put it best the other day. There's no universal player. You're drafting guys with specific skill sets and you have to hone offense around them, right? Is it to say that they won't develop into all-stars? That's not it. It's just based on where they are versus other classes. They're not there. So, I mean, a lot of people, this is where a lot of the inconsistencies are coming on, where people are feeling not as great. And I just think that, I don't know, it's just a tough situation. But I don't know. Ultimately, with Myles Garrett, I'll get into that. My thoughts on that guy, I mean, out of all the guys that demanded a trade request in the last decade, how many did actually it come to fruition? Deshaun? And can you think of anybody else? It doesn't happen very often, especially when the other team's got to pay a ton of money. And just with the way things are and the way that the Browns would have to trade him, I just don't see it happening. That's where we got to kind of chill out. Like we said, I hate to say it, like we basically said already, like we own him for 4 years. Do we want to be like that? Do we really need to be petty about it? I don't think so, but hopefully these guys can just talk it out and figure it out. It's not like the NBA. I mean, the NBA seems to be able to have players and it's a player-run league, but I just don't see a lot of guys, even like Aaron Rodgers, for example. He really wanted out of Green Bay. It took a bit to get him out, Look at Ayuk. Look at Debo last year. The 49ers had to deal with it two times.
Yeah.
And it's not fun. It's not easy. Clearly Myles is in a good headspace where he feels like they're on the right path. And this is what it is, because I don't feel like we're going to get rid of him just based on the cap numbers.
I think there's a better chance that not Myles is still on the Browns next season. Mm-hmm. At least that's where I stand right now, 24 hours from hearing about the request. Going back to the Shedeur thing a little bit in the quarterback situation, I hate the talk of there's no universal number one quarterback, when the last guy who was looked at that was Trevor Lawrence. Okay. And we've talked about that before.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence isn't that guy. And guys who look like projects, Josh Allen, is seen as a league MVP candidate. Lamar Jackson is about to be a 3-time MVP. Yep. Okay. So it's all, I said this before, it's all about the fit. And then that's why you got to put a ton of research into the character of the player. Are they going to be the guys who are first in, last out? Are they going to put in the work needed to make the transition? Can they process information? We had the receiver on here who was on the Browns training camp roster for a little bit. I can't remember his name. And he said 95% of the game at this level is mental. Everybody out here is a supreme athlete. Everybody out here can throw. There's some people who are faster and some people who can throw further and faster and harder, but everybody is good at throwing. Everybody is fast. It's mental. It's how can you process information. Two of the best quarterbacks of all time are two of the worst athletes to ever play football. Peyton Manning and Tom Brady ran the 40 in a week. So it's about how quickly you can process information. If you can distribute the ball to your playmakers on time, on target. I know Josh posted a video of Cam and Shedeur working out a little bit together, and they were kind of chopping over a bag and throwing to a receiver on each side of them. And Cam Ward clearly has the stronger arm in that video, but Shedeur to me was 1,000,000% more accurate. Like first of all, his release was quicker than I thought. Like it's not like he doesn't have a long release. This ball still comes out, and every throw is just right here. Here. Cam, they got to reach a little bit here. It's right here every time. Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah. I was just going to say real quick, I'll do a video on Shedeur because I've been watching a lot of tape while I'm, rocking the baby and all that stuff. But I've noticed that Shedeur Sanders can drop passes in that intermediate zone. Like it's beautiful. I mean, over top of linebackers, right in front of safeties, perfectly. It's such a touch pass that I'm kind of getting blown away watching him do that over and over. He doesn't have the strongest arm, but he can make those touch throws. And with the two high safety and everything in the NFL, that the intermediate areas where you got to live, you got to be able to slay it in there. And I think he can.
No, that's a big part of his game. And I mean, if you look at the Browns, and I said it in the previous episode on my own, they're set up for a Shedeur Sanders draft. Like, I mean, you have our new quarterback coach, Musgrave. He's buddies with Pat Shurmur. Pat Shurmur coaches him right now. That's huge. And Bill Musgrave also was with Pat Shurmur and Kevin Stefanski in Minnesota. They coached together in 2017. And so I think that's just screaming to connect the dots. That doesn't always happen. And, someone could trade up above us, but I mean, it looks good to want to draft him.
Absolutely. And here's the thing too. We just talked about this at the beginning. Even if we draft Shedeur at 2, unless he comes into training camp and he's just blowing people away in terms of how good he is, like, holy crap, this guy's even better than we thought he could be. I don't want him to see the field this year outside of the preseason. You know what I mean? Like,
agree.
I still want to, like, let's give him the time to develop. Let's give him the time to learn and to build on those traits. And then you pick 2 guys. Pick another one late. How late will some of these guys go? Will Will Howard be there a little bit later? I really want Travion Henderson. I think if we want him now, we're going to have to take him at pick, 34, right. Our first pick in the second round. I want to add as much offensive talent. The people saying if Myles is leaving, you got to go get Carter now. Why? We just had the best pass rusher on the planet and couldn't win. So we're going to replace him with a rookie? No, you got to go get offense. So I'm okay with, I am on board with the Shedeur and then still getting a bridge quarterback so he can sit for a season or 2.
And the draft this year for running backs is crazy. It's crazy good.
Yes.
So if we don't get Henderson, which, I mean, as Buckeye fans, we like the vision, the explosiveness. The kid's a stud, but man, there's going to be a lot of talent on the board